The thing about classical conditioning, when we have attitudes that have been developed and formed because of classical conditioning, it's usually because it taps into our emotions, okay? We like to feel good. We like to, we don't like to feel bad. And so whenever we have experiences that are pleasant, we like those. We feel good. They make us feel happy. They make us feel excited. They make us feel calm. All those positive emotions. Okay, and so classical conditioning of attitudes, it taps into our emotions. Remember I told you the three components of attitudes: emotions, thoughts, and actions. Okay, well, classical conditioning of attitudes, classical conditioning helps us form that emotions component of our attitudes. Okay. And it especially works, when people don't have a lot of information about something to begin with about something. Like I said, if you knew nothing about black people and the only information you got was that punch in the face, okay then, okay? Let's say that you came from a country where you were already familiar with black people. You already have a lot of knowledge about the culture and who they are and Africa and that sort of thing. You're probably not going to fall for the classical conditioning thing because you have a lot of information to begin with. But if you don't have a lot of information about something to begin with, then you're more likely to easily be classically conditioned to an attitude. Okay, let me give you an example of a study that was done that looked at this classical conditioning of attitudes. So some students were brought into a lab and they were shown a picture of a woman, and the woman was doing something pretty neutral, like walking her dog or something like that. Something that didn't really, on its own, you really probably don't have any positive or negative feeling about seeing a woman walking her dog. So the students were shown a picture of this woman walking her dog. But right before they were shown the picture, there flashed on the screen, real quick, another picture. And the picture flashed so quick, the students didn't even know that it had come on the screen. That's how fast it was, okay? And some of the students saw pictures of really positive, happy things, Mickey Mouse or ice cream or rainbows or something like that. The other students, when the picture flashed, it flashed a negative thing, like snakes or a dead body, okay? So some of the students, before they saw the picture of the woman walking her dog, real quick, something flashed, something that usually gives a positive feeling, okay? The other group of students, the picture that flashed was something negative, all right? So after the picture flashed, they showed the picture of the woman walking her dog. They asked the students, okay, what is your attitude towards this woman walking the dog? Is it positive or negative? Or, like how positive or how negative is it? Okay, and you'll see on slide number 10, the bar graph there, the students who saw the positive flash picture before the picture of the woman walking her dog, you'll see they had more positive attitudes about the woman walking her dog. They didn't even know why they had more positive attitudes, because remember, it flashed so quick that they didn't even realize that, the picture of Mickey Mouse flashed so quick they didn't even realize they had seen it. All they knew is that for some reason when they saw the picture of this woman walking her dog, they felt good inside, okay? They felt happy. On the other hand, the students who saw the negative picture flash right before the woman walking her dog picture, for some reason, and again, they didn't know why, when they saw the picture of this woman walking her dog, they felt negative about her, or less positive about her, and they didn't even know why. When they asked the students, what do you think this woman's personality is like? Do you think her personality is positive, or do you think it's more, how positive do you think her personality is? The students who had seen the positive picture beforehand had more positive attitudes about her personality, of the woman's personality, than the people who saw the negative flash picture. The only thing that was equal, the only thing that seemed to really not matter whether they saw a positive or negative flash picture, was how attractive, they asked students, how attractive do you think this woman is, okay? And both groups of students were pretty equal on that. And the reason they were equal on that was because they could just look at the picture and see, oh, she looks attractive, or no, she doesn't look attractive. They had objective information about that, okay? So when it comes down to things, again, that we don't have any information about, that we can't sort of look and tell on our own, we usually go, if it's been classically conditioned, if it's been paired with a positive or negative thing, we usually go with our gut feeling. And our gut feeling depends on whether the thing it was paired with was positive or negative, right? Another way that attitudes are developed is through what we call instrumental conditioning. So instrumental conditioning involves coming to behave positive or negatively towards something because doing so has previously been rewarded. Okay, so think about this. Let's talk about racism and discrimination again. Let's say you come from a family where when you were a kid, every time you said something negative about somebody of another race, your parents, gave you a high five, laughed, said, "Oh, you're so funny," okay? And you received that reward. That was a reward for you. The praise, the attention you got from your parents, okay, made you feel good. And so you thought to yourself, okay, so every time that I'm a little bit racist towards, this particular group of people, or say this mean joke about this particular group of people seem to think that's funny. So you keep doing it. You keep doing it. And over time, look, you've developed an attitude about that group of people. Because why? You have been rewarded every time you do something that reflects that attitude. You get some kind of reward for it. Your parents laugh. People laugh. They give you a high five. They slap you on the back and say, "That was a great job you did." Okay? So instrumental conditioning is more about how we develop the behavior, the action component of attitudes. And remember, it's because it gets developed because every time somebody does that particular action, they get a reward for it. So they figure, hey, I'm going to keep doing it. Okay? And the third way, modeling of attitudes. A lot of times we can watch what other people do or what other people say, and we can imitate it. Okay, that's another way of how attitudes are developed and formed. All right, so now that we understand how people come to develop certain attitudes, let's take a look at why people maintain their attitudes. Remember I said that attitudes are tendencies. Our attitudes don't always stay the same. They can change over time, but sometimes we have certain attitudes that don't seem to change that much. And obviously, once we have developed our certain attitudes, we wouldn't keep them unless they were helpful in some way, unless they were useful in some way, unless they continue to bring reward to, bring us some reward or some pleasurable outcome. All right. So there are 5 functions that attitudes serve us. There are 5 reasons why a person would choose to keep a certain attitude that they've developed, okay? Attitudes help us, 1, understand events, help us understand the world around us and make some sense of it. They help us express our deeply held values, okay? So if I really, really value education, okay, then I'm going to tell you I have a positive feeling about education. I think everybody should have an education, and I am going to get my PhD. That's the action that shows that I have a positive attitude about education, that I value education. Attitudes help us express our values. 3, attitudes help us protect our self-esteem, help us maximize rewards, and help us match situations. Let's talk a little bit about each of these 5 functions of attitudes. The first one, understanding events. Attitudes help us react quickly to emotional events without having to put in much effort, okay? If you know what your attitude about something is, and then you're faced with the situation, you can just react based on your attitude. You don't have to sit and think, okay, how do I feel about this? What are my thoughts on this? What should I do about this? You kind of already have your attitudes that are deep inside of you. And so you can just say, hey, what's my attitude about this? Okay, and then react. You don't have to put too much thought into it. You can go with your emotions on it. People, the understanding events is, we call it the knowledge function of attitudes, because, like I said, it helps us interpret events, but it also, we also like to, people who use attitudes for this particular function like to form their attitudes based on knowledge. They want to find out the information before they form an attitude. They don't want to just go with their spontaneous initial reaction. They want to know the knowledge behind it before they come to form an attitude.